The day my wife gave birth to her terminally ill ex-boyfriend's child, I was at the hospital, but not for her. Her parents had brought 10 men to guard the delivery room like it was some kind of crime scene. Even after the birth, I didn't make a scene. I just stood there watching from a distance, completely numb. My mother-in-law held Laura's hand and whispered, "Don't worry, sweetheart. As long as we're here, we won't let him near you." Her father added, "I've got people at every entrance. If he dares show up, we'll call the police." Laura, pale and weak, nodded slightly, but her eyes kept flicking toward the elevator, searching for me. When she didn't find me, she finally relaxed. She never understood me. All I ever wanted was to support her, to help her give James something to remember him by. Why wasn't that enough? She smiled as the nurse placed the newborn in her arms. And in her heart, she thought, if Claude visits tomorrow, maybe I'll forgive him. Maybe he can even be the baby's father. But she had no idea. I just filed paperwork with the United Nations. In 7 days, I'd renounce my citizenship, leave everything behind, and disappear as a stateless doctor. The day Laura left the postpartum center, I just finished a hospital shift. As I walked up to the house, I heard laughter. Warm, familiar, painful. "This baby is so beautiful," my mother-in-law cooed. "She's got her father's eyes." James walked out of the kitchen, holding a bowl of soup. "I made this myself," he said, sitting beside Laura and feeding her like they were married. Her father laughed, shaking a rattle toward the baby. "She's a sweetheart, just like her dad. Thank God she didn't take after that cold Claude. Who wants a doctor for a father? That's just asking for trouble." My hand froze on the doorknob. I remembered when he first met me. He said being a doctor was noble, an honor. He told me he used to be one himself until an accident forced him to retire. But now I was the outsider. The disappointment. I lowered my head and forced a bitter smile. I'd been married to Laura for 3 years. She always said she didn't want kids and I respected that. I never pushed her. The day I left for my fellowship abroad, she cried and clung to me, promising to wait. We called every day. Everyone said we acted like newlyweds, still in love. But when I finally came home last month, there she was, standing outside our house, heavily pregnant, holding hands with James. My thoughts snapped back to the present as James noticed me at the door. "Claude, when did you get back? Why are you just standing there?" The room went silent. All eyes turned to me. My father-in-law scowled when he saw the resignation letter in my hand. "Why did I ever let you marry my daughter? Now you're quitting your job. What are you planning? Mooch off us." My mother-in-law jumped in. "You gave up your golden job. What kind of man is that? We've got a baby and a sick daughter to take care of. Who's going to support them? You." I almost laughed. Whoever the child belongs to should be the one responsible. My words cut through the room like a blade. "Claude, what the hell did you just say?" Laura snapped. Her face flushed red and she started coughing, clutching her chest. "If James hadn't pulled me out of that car wreck 3 years ago, I wouldn't even be here," she cried. "Now he's dying and no one will remember him once he's gone. Why do you hate him so much? Do you think I'm disgusting just because I love him?" James gently placed a hand on her shoulder and looked at me. "Claude, I'm sorry. I know I messed up. I'll stay out of your way from now on. Please don't let me ruin your marriage." I looked around. For people united like a family and not one of them was on my side. Laura's voice turned cold. "Claude, if you ever attack James again, don't bother coming back. If you still want to be my husband, keep quiet. At the full month celebration, I'll introduce you as the baby's father. That's my compromise." I glanced at the baby, sleeping peacefully nearby. By then, I'd be gone on a flight out of the country, leaving all of this behind, but before I left, I didn't mind giving them something they'd never forget. I nodded. "Okay." I didn't wait for a response. I turned and walked into the bedroom to pack. I didn't want to leave behind a single trace. As I folded my clothes, I heard Laura's voice from the living room. "James, I want the baby to take your last name. Even if she calls someone else dad, she'll always know who her real father is." My hands froze. I remembered the day I came back unexpectedly last month, holding a souvenir I'd bought for her. I opened the door and there she was, returning from a walk with James, holding hands. She looked panicked. James stared at me like I was a stranger. Before I could speak, Laura stepped forward. "This is my husband, Claude." I thought James would back off. But instead, he leaned in and whispered, "I hear you're older than me. I'll call you Big Brother. After all, the baby in your wife's belly is mine." I snapped. I punched him so hard he staggered. Months of longing and love turned to pure rage. If I'd had a weapon, I might have done something I'd regret. The police got involved, but it was chalked up as a domestic dispute. No charges. When we got home, Laura's parents didn't ask me anything. They just started yelling at me for embarrassing them, for being violent, for throwing away my education. Turns out they'd known all along. They supported her in James. In just 1 year, he'd completely replaced me. Laura tried to take my hand, her voice trembling. I didn't mean to betray you. James is dying. I just wanted to give him something to leave behind. I planned to tell you when you came back. I didn't want to distract you. She looked at me hopefully. Can we raise this child together? It sounded so simple coming from her, like all of this was normal. I zipped up my suitcase. That's when my mother-in-law barged in with a fake smile. James has been using your room while you were gone, she said. We turned the study into a nursery. You can sleep on the couch or get a hotel. I was too exhausted to argue. I just nodded and settled on the couch. But in the middle of the night, a baby's cry pierced the silence. I rolled over, reaching for earplugs when I heard Laura's tired voice from the bedroom. You need to do something about the baby or he's going to cry all night. James responded, relaxed and lazy. You're my baby. You take care of it. Let the kid cry. It's good for lung development. Laura laughed softly. You're so annoying. Then the bed creaked. I pulled the blanket over my head, trying to block out the unbearable sounds. But even with my eyes closed, the memories haunted me. The Laura I fell in love with used to be so gentle, so pure. I could still see her smiling, eyes full of trust when she first confessed to me. But that version of her wasn't mine anymore. I must have drifted into a half-sleep because when I opened my eyes, it was morning. I got up quietly, packed my things, and left without looking back. First stop, the municipal office. I officially deregistered my household and finished the paperwork to leave the country. The clerk didn't ask many questions. Just as I was about to leave, she handed me a piece of fruit candy and said with a kind smile, "May your wishes come true." I smiled back politely and left. I checked into a nearby hotel to drop off my luggage and headed out to find food. That's when I ran into them, Laura, James, and their 2 children. James looked like he'd stepped out of a magazine. Armani suit, perfectly groomed, healthy, not at all like someone who was dying. Claude, he called out like we were old friends. I thought I saw you from a distance, but Laura said it couldn't be you. His eyes dropped to the recruitment flyer in my hand, and he smirked. You're looking for a job now with that frail frame. You planning to carry bricks at a construction site? I said nothing. The flyer had been handed to me by a girl in the cold. I only took it to be polite. But James didn't care. He laughed even harder. If you just said you needed help, I might have given you a hand. We're family after all. If you're doing well, Laura benefits, too. Then I can rest in peace. My silence just made them more confident. Laura, who had been quiet, suddenly frowned and looked me over with disdain. What's the point of introducing him to anyone? He quit a great job. Even if he ends up homeless, he doesn't deserve sympathy. Her voice grew sharp. Claude, you're so irresponsible. You think acting like this will make me give up custody of the child? I stared at her. This face, so familiar, now felt like a stranger's. I remembered the early days of our marriage. When I was struggling at work, thinking of quitting, she'd held me close and whispered, "We're fine. Whatever you decide, I'm behind you. I believe in you and I believe in us." But now she stood there while another man humiliated me. Her parents were no better. I must have been blind, her father muttered. How could I have trusted you with my daughter's happiness? Good thing we're still alive, her mother added. If we weren't here, who knows how you might have abused her. Their voices grew louder, drawing attention from the people around us. I heard the whispers, felt the stares. My hands clenched at my sides. I was about to speak when James stepped forward. We're going to take a family photo. Claude, why don't you come with us? In the future, I'll be counting on you to help take care of Laura and the kid. Before I could reply, Laura scoffed. Look at him dressed like that. He'd ruin the photo. She turned and walked away. Let's go. Don't let him hold us up. James gave me a pat on the shoulder before following her. I watched them walk away. No anger, no sadness, just nothing. To everyone else, they looked like a happy family. And if that's what Laura wanted, then maybe the only thing left for me was to walk away. 3 days before my flight, I got a call from the hospital director. He'd managed to reach the cardiac specialist I'd asked about, one of the best in the country, who was in town briefly for a medical forum. He could see my father-in-law. Despite everything, I still remembered he had heart issues. I'd even collected case studies abroad just in case. I figured one last favor, then I could close the chapter for good. But when I told him, his face darkened. Why should I go to the hospital? You want me dead that badly? You had bypass surgery years ago. It's just a checkup. Preventative, I said gently. Before I could finish, he hurled a water cup at me. It shattered on the floor. You think you can just call in favors from top experts now that you're unemployed? All talk. When James stayed up all night booking appointments, where were you? His message was clear. I'd never be good enough. Not compared to James. I took a breath and smiled politely. If you don't want to go, forget it. It wasn't my place anymore. The day of the baby's full-month celebration, I showed up late. The banquet hall was already packed with relatives, some I barely even remembered. It was more extravagant than our own wedding. At the entrance, a framed photo caught my eye. Laura, James, their 2 children, and her parents. A happy family portrait. I wasn't in it, of course. Why would I be? As I stepped inside, whispers trailed after me. I didn't need to hear the words clearly. I already knew what they were saying. Right there, in the middle of all the warmth and laughter, stood the woman who once promised me forever. And me? I was just a ghost at the edge of her new life. A silent witness to a future that had no space left for me. Then my aunt suddenly appeared, grabbing my arm with a warm smile. Claude, when did you get back? Laura didn't say a word. My aunt leaned in, lowering her voice like she was about to spill some juicy gossip. I heard you just returned from studying abroad, and you're about to be promoted to chief physician. Such a bright future ahead of you. I gave her a polite nod, keeping quiet, but I could see it in their eyes. Curiosity mixed with thinly veiled judgment. They'd seen the family photo. I wasn't in it. I wasn't the one standing beside Laura anymore. Somewhere nearby, someone half whispered. Half laughed. Claude, who's that guy? I didn't know you had a younger brother. I smiled faintly. Laura's new husband. That one sentence sent a ripple through the circle of aunts. Their eyes widened in synchronized shock before they quickly huddled together, whispering even more furiously. Well, if Laura's family wasn't trying to keep things quiet, then I didn't feel obligated to either. A moment later, Laura stepped onto the stage, holding a microphone and beaming like it was the happiest day of her life. I'm so happy to have you all here for my son's full moon celebration, she began. Honestly, I never imagined I'd become a mother. I used to think I wasn't cut out for it. But the moment I heard my baby cry for the first time, I realized what unconditional love truly means. Her voice trembled just a little. Maybe even she was swept up in her own words. It was a touching performance. Then suddenly, my aunt raised her voice. Let the baby's father say a few words. Where is he? The whole room froze. I turned first to James, then to me. The answer was obvious, but my aunt, bless her, still looked expectantly at Laura. I caught Laura's gaze, then I slowly walked up toward the stage. Her eyes widened in panic as I reached for the mic. What are you doing? She hissed, tugging my sleeve. Don't say anything reckless, Claude. I'm warning you. I didn't look at her. I gently pulled my arm free and spoke into the mic. First of all, thank you all for being here today. Many of you witnessed Laura and me get married. You gave us your blessings, and for that, I was deeply grateful. I glanced toward the entrance. Maybe you saw the family portrait on display outside. I did, too, and I was just as surprised. Laura's face turned pale. She lunged for the mic, but I shifted slightly to keep it out of her reach. But what shocked me more, I continued, was returning from abroad to find that the woman who once promised me forever was already 8 months pregnant. A gasp rolled through the room. I can't keep pretending everything's fine, I said. Laura, let's get a divorce. I pulled out the divorce papers I had prepared long ago and let them fall at her feet. She stood frozen, her fingers trembling as she reached for the mic, desperate to salvage the moment. Claude, why are you doing this? Haven't I told you? If you just let go of the past, the 3 of us can still have a good life together. 3 of us. In her mind, I was the third wheel in their perfect little family. I'm done deceiving myself, I said quietly. Sign it. There's nothing left between us. I hope you and James are happy. She shook her head frantically. No, I won't sign it. I don't agree to this, Claude. Don't even think about it. When my lawyer first drafted the papers, he told me I could leave her with nothing. She had been unfaithful. I had all the proof, but I didn't want to drag it through the courts. I was leaving the country soon, so I took only what was legally mine. The rest, I asked my lawyer to donate it to hope schools in remote mountain areas. At least something good could come from it. The room was a mess now. Whispers flying. Laura's parents trying to calm everyone down. I turned and walked out. Behind me, Laura handed the baby to her father and rushed after me. But before she got far, James suddenly clutched his chest and staggered. "Laura!" he gasped. "I think I'm really not going to make it." Panic flashed across her face. "James, hold on. I'll take you to the hospital." She could only watch as I kept walking, never looking back. She thought that once the dust settled, she'd talk things through with me. In her mind, as long as she didn't sign the papers, I was still tethered to her. But life had other plans. On the way to the hospital, her father suddenly collapsed, too. Overwhelmed, Laura broke down in tears. Just as they were about to wheel him into surgery, they ran into the hospital director and one of the country's top cardiologists. She rushed up to them, falling to her knees. Please save my dad. James helped me make an appointment with you before. Do you remember him?" The cardiologist paused. "You're Claude's wife, aren't you?" he asked. "He reached out to me through the director a few days ago asking me to check on his father-in-law's condition. I remember praising him for being so thoughtful." Laura froze. He continued, "But then I was told it wasn't needed anymore." "What happened?" She had no words. They had assumed I couldn't possibly reach someone of his level. They were sure James had made the call. Now the truth hit her like a slap. The director gently pulled her aside. "I'm sorry, Miss Laura. We're about to board a flight to the US for a medical conference. We can't stay for the surgery, but our hospital's team is very capable. We'll do everything we can." Later, the director told me what happened next. Laura sat outside the operating room, quietly holding back tears. Her mother, furious, snapped at her. "I told you. Even if Claude was many things, he would never joke about something like this. But you never believed me. And now look what you've done. If your father dies, it's on you." The baby cried in her arms. Her mother, overwhelmed and irritated, dropped him on a plastic chair. "Enough. Cry, cry, cry. What do you think you are, royalty?" But Laura wasn't listening anymore. She took out her phone and tried to call me. Maybe, she thought. Just maybe. I was the only one who could still save her father. But her call didn't go through. I was already on the plane. I leaned against the window, watching the land vanish below the clouds as the plane rose higher. From that moment on, I didn't belong to any one place. I was giving myself to the world. Every day in that war-torn region changed how I saw life. But more than anything, it solidified my purpose. I never once regretted coming here. Never regretted choosing this life, being a doctor without borders. One afternoon, as I was finishing a shift, a colleague burst in out of breath. "Someone's looking for you," he said. I barely looked up. "Another patient?" "No, I think it's someone from back home." "A woman." I froze mid-step. Laura's face flickered in my mind like a ghost I hadn't fully buried. Before I could respond, she walked in. "Claude, it's really you." Her eyes were red. She rushed over and threw her arms around me before I could react, her tears soaking into my neck. I gently pulled away, awkward and tense. I remembered the message from my lawyer right before I left. Our divorce had been officially filed. Whether or not she agreed, the papers had gone through. So why was she here? "Laura, we're already divorced." She looked down, wiping her eyes. "I know. After you left, a lot happened. My dad, he passed away." I stared at her, stunned. I hadn't expected that. "I'm sorry," I said softly. She nodded quickly. "We didn't believe you back then. We thought you were bluffing. But James, he never reached out to any specialists. My dad's condition just kept getting worse. If we'd listened to you, maybe he'd still be alive." She sank to the ground, sobbing into her hands. And even though I'd seen countless people die out here, held their hands as they took their last breaths, that still hit me hard. Her father had once treated me like his own son. "I came here to say I'm sorry," she whispered. "I didn't understand why you left. I didn't know you gave everything up to be here to help people. I came all this way to find you. Please come back with me. This place is too dangerous. I've already lost my dad. I can't lose you, too." I shook my head slowly. "No, Laura, I'm not going back. Not now." "Why not?" she begged. "Because I don't belong anywhere anymore. Not until the war ends." Not until people stop needing help. This is my home now. She looked up, eyes wide with desperation. I know I made mistakes. I lied. I hurt you. And now I'm paying the price. James is sick. Really sick. The doctors say he doesn't have much time left. Claude, how am I supposed to raise a child on my own? I gently pulled my hands from hers. We're divorced, I said calmly. Your life, your choices. They're yours now. I have work to do. You should go home. I turned and started walking back toward the tents. Behind me, she called out, if you're staying, then I'm staying, too. I'll wait here no matter how long it takes. We can go home together after your mission. I didn't answer, but just a few steps later, I heard her take a phone call. What? He's gone. James is dead. I'm coming back now. Wait for me. And then the deafening roar of two low-flying bombers tore through the sky. I turned instinctively, yanking her to the ground. Claude, what are you doing? An explosion shook the earth nearby. Dust rained down on us as screams echoed all around. We have to move, I said. Get up. We need to find cover. She was frozen, paralyzed with fear. I grabbed her arm and helped her to her feet. Am I going to die here? She whispered. No, I said. You're going home. Our team leader had arranged for a local driver to take her to the airport. The man arrived in an old, beat-up pickup and nodded at me. Before she climbed in, I slipped some cash into his hand. Make sure she gets there safe. Laura didn't say anything. She just got in, still dazed. I watched them drive away, then turned back to the camp. One of my colleagues nudged me playfully. Hey, was that your girlfriend? She came all the way here for you. Must be true love. I shook my head, picking up my lunchbox. She's not my girlfriend, I said. She's my ex-wife. He blinked in surprise, but didn't say anything else. I pushed the moment out of my mind. 2 years later, an unexpected opportunity brought me back home. My understanding of medicine had deepened, and this time, I wasn't alone. I came back with someone, a fellow aid worker I met at the camp. She once threw herself in front of me during an attack and was badly scarred. I promised I'd stay by her side for life somewhere along the way. Love found me again. At the airport, the former director of the Central Hospital met me personally. You've lost weight, he said warmly. Been through a lot, haven't you? His simple words hit harder than I expected. I pulled him into a hug, fighting the lump in my throat. Then I saw her, Laura, standing in the distance, a little boy by her side. She looked different, older, tired. No trace of the bright, confident woman I had once married. She didn't come over, just stood there watching. I looked back for a moment and felt a gentle squeeze on my hand. My girlfriend had slipped her fingers into mine. Is that your ex-wife? She asked softly. Should we say hi? I shook my head. There's nothing left to say. That day at the banquet, when I walked away, our story split for good. Later, I received a message on my old phone. Over the past 2 years, Laura had tried to contact me. I'd changed numbers, so I never saw them. Until now, it was just 3 words. I'm sorry. I stared at the screen for a while. Then I deleted the message, blocked the number, tossed the old SIM card out the window. That chapter of my life was over. The pain, the betrayal, the what-ifs. I left it all behind, carried away on the wind.